the world was upside down. Okay. Back then there was Agenda 21.
Right.
Okay. Why is it now Agenda 2030? How did it get moved 9 years? Why did Agenda 21 become the Great Reset of 2030? I looked it up, and there are 38 different various definitions in the biblical terms and definitions when you type in the word cool. I had no idea. I just thought it sounded cool. But here's the point. Knowledge of who we are and what we are has to start with us. We have to do the work. We can't pray to God to give us the knowledge. We can learn the knowledge and then pray for understanding. But if we don't pick the book up, if we don't do the work, if we don't do the reading, if we don't ask the questions, I look at it this way. The great lawyer, the lawgiver, capital L, lawgiver that created everything, that created life and abundance and wealth and spirit and the universe, love, reciprocity, wealth, forgiveness, the laws of the universe. The lawyer created a law book, and it's incumbent upon us to become law students of that book. So once we begin to know what real knowledge is, what the real laws are, what the parables were, what the stories that were taught to us and the wisdom throughout the ages, then we can begin to seek spiritual understanding. From that, we can get divine wisdom for an abundant life. Okay? But if we don't understand the laws, Mel, we don't own it. We can't apply it. It's not ours. You know, if we want to grow and understand what's going on with the world, we don't eat one day a week for 30 minutes on a Sunday. We don't grow by being fed once a week on Sunday. You grow with 3 or 4 meals a day, 7 days a week, right? And we don't feed our kids a meal on Sunday, or maybe one on Wednesday night and one on Sunday, and hope that they grow up healthy and strong. We got to feed our head. We got to feed our heart. We got to surround ourselves with like-minded people. Iron's got to sharpen iron. We have to understand who we are. And the saddest thing that I've realized, Mel, is that the religiosity drives people to be an atheist. Religion is not faith. Religion is, there's 2 entities that Jesus despised the most: the Pharisees and the money changers. Yeah. The Pharisees and the money changers, because they were hypocrites, they were liars, they were thieves, they were stealing from people. He knew what they were doing. He saw that they didn't get it. They were transactional, they were hypocrites, and they were dishonest. And the things that he taught us were, look, the Bible talks about heaven in an abundant way, in a wealthy way, in a prosperous way. If we go after wisdom and we find wisdom and we seek truth and we learn how to live with power and authority and courage and bravery and standing, we're going to be blessed 30, 70, 100 times more than we could possibly be blessed if we try to do it ourselves.
Absolutely.
You know, if we understand the laws as they were given by the great creator, my mentor loves to tell me this: Mel, God doesn't have a resource problem. He owns everything, all the gold, all the silver, all the land, all the treasures, all the intelligence, he owns it all.
Yeah.
If we figure out who he is and what we're here for, and we serve him, the most powerful, wealthiest man in the world, you think he's not going to bless us? Of course he is. But yes, we've got to figure out who we are and what our why is and why we're here. And the other side has figured out how to pervert a monetary system, use money to enslave us all on this debt treadmill, lie to us about what money is. It's really debt. Pervert our Constitution, put in a foreign Federal Reserve instead of the United States Treasury, issue this paper with ink on it and call it money, put us in these stupid schools and brainwash us and have us memorize a bunch of stuff that is just made up malarkey by the Rothschilds. And then we get on the damn hamster wheel and we chase after cheese our whole life. And we wonder why all this crap that we go out and try to accumulate doesn't make us happy. I can point to lots and lots and lots of millionaires and billionaires that are the most miserable SOBs I've ever met in my entire life. Stuff doesn't make you happy.
Yes.
Money is just a tool. Wealth is just a blessing. And the more that we have a relationship with the infinite and the creative, the more wealth we'll have, our cups will runneth over, and the more blessings we can do to help and heal and serve other people. And the more we give, the more we'll get. It's not why we do it, but it's just a law. The more we give, the more we serve, the more we do, the more we'll be blessed, because our Father, God, will know that we have the chops and the fiduciary muscle to steward well his resources and serve others in a selfless mindset. And if we can learn these things that this world does not want us to know, they don't want us to know the power that we truly have, because we were born perfect. We're not broken. We were born that we were separated, and we got to follow 854,000 rules. And if you rub the magic Jesus genie just right, he'll spit out some Pez dispenser blessings to us. But, we've got to have an intermediary that tells us that we're doing it right, like a pastor or a pope or a preacher or a rabbi, or somebody's got to tell us, and if we do all the rules just right, we get enough points on our God credit score, then we might get through the pearly gates and get a 40-yard line, 40-yard seat in the heaven stadium.
Yeah. We've been sold a bill of goods.
That's just crap.
Yeah.
It's
We've
not.
been sold a bill of goods,
Yeah.
Rob. Where are you on the Sarah and Jasara? And what did you think of what happened in Vegas when I asked the question?
I saw an analysis of political correctness kind of make a pall over the room. No one wants to answer it because it's so polarizing. And if you answer it with media in the room and other people, you can almost understand it, Mel, because we live in this world, but not of it. But why invite global ridicule, especially these corporate executives and board members and shareholders and people trying to grow and do seed capital raising and all that kind of stuff? You can almost understand that there's a little bit of humanistic wisdom involved in not necessarily laying the ball up and letting the leftists that own the media microphones whack us over the head, right? But it was obvious that they didn't really want to touch it, because look, what aspect of the scriptures that talks about the wicked will store up the riches for ultimately the redistribution to the righteous? 6,000 times there's been a fiat currency created. 6,000 times it's gone to zero. Because these people try to hoard everything. They try to enslave the masses, the 99%, and the 1% try to own everything. And they always create some kind of fiat currency with usury on top. And the mathematical equation is 100% of the time, what they create collapses like a house of cards and goes to zero. It's never escaped. Math is the most perfect science, the most perfect law there is. 1 + 1 = 0, and fiat plus interest equals 0. Okay, so the wealth isn't going to go away because that's fake wealth. Fiat money is fake wealth. The gold, the silver, the land, the prosperity, the income, the trust, the equity of the relationship equity, the standing in truth, silver. Look, real wealth comes from God, from our
Yeah.
creator. Okay. But he doesn't have a resource problem. He
No.
has an obedience problem. He has people that have done the Adam thing, turned their head away, gotten ignorant, don't ask for his help, don't humble themselves, don't do the work to try to figure out what this is all about, don't submit themselves, don't ask and seek and serve and surround themselves with like-minded individuals where iron can sharpen iron. We don't hold ourselves accountable to one another because we don't want to be held accountable. We don't want to humble ourselves, and we just want to try to figure this out all by our own. And basically, the good book says, knock yourself out. That's the path you want to go. Knock yourself out. But
Exactly.
I,
Well,
I would,
we're going to become the stewards, I think, of the money, the right stewards for the first time in a long time. And we're about to, in my opinion, based on what we're following through the 17th movement and the SARA and SARA, which is, by the way, all connected.
yes,
You know, the rightful owners of the money, and there's going to be wealth beyond the wildest, imagination you could possibly have. It's 100 times bigger than that. And they know that once the money gets into the right hands, we're going to put the caboose back on the tracks again. And they don't want that. And they're moving heaven and earth to try and disrupt everything as they lose their power. Because I think personally, I think you'll agree with me, the central bank digital currency is the biggest struggle they have. Because if I wanted to buy your house, and I've made this argument with Versan from Black Swan Capital 2 days ago, and he totally agreed. Well, I basically backed him against the wall. And I said, answer the question. If I wanted to buy your house and you have a wallet and I could send you the XRP directly to your wallet, do I need a central bank digital currency to buy your house? Yes or no?
no,
Absolutely. And this is the struggle. This is the lawsuit. This is the them losing their power. They know that Rob and Mel and Black Swan capitalists are about to become their own banks, and they have a problem with it, and they know it better than we do. Where are you on that?
Mel, let me tell you exactly what happened. Remember, my wife and I went to the mall in 2010, 2011 when Glenn Beck did the big Million Man March in DC, if you remember that back in the day. We knew that there was something innately wrong with our government, with our media, with our elected politicians, and the Common Core, the open borders, the 7 different wars that were being started by Mr. Nobel Prize winner who got a Nobel Prize for putting 7 sentences together in his first 2 months in office. I mean, the world was upside down. Okay, back then there was Agenda 21.
Right.
Okay, why is it now Agenda 2030? How did it get moved 9 years? Why did Agenda 21 become the Great Reset of 2030?
Because
You
they're
know
losing
why?
ground. They're behind schedule.
They never thought she would lose.
Oh, that too.
They never think about it. 8 years of the great Obama and in 8 years of the great Clinton, 16 years, Agenda 21, 2021, the year after the boogeyman flew, boom, all over. War with Korea, war wherever we want to go. So here's my point. When Mr. T came into office, not only did he erase the 8 years that had happened before him, eradicating rules and regulations 25-1, restoring confidence, uniting people, exposing the lies, building the economy, but he also stopped the 4 years of the anointed one, the Hildebeest. It was more than a 12-year stoppage. It was more than just the 8 years of Obama and the 4 years of Hillary. It was 8 plus 4 plus all of the stuff he erased and eliminated. So they are so far behind schedule on their timeline, Mel, to be able to create the infrastructure of a CBDC. First of all, the central banks are dying. The central banks are finished. If you don't have a central bank, who's going to issue the central bank digital currency? based on digital fiat. Look, 85% of the world's population is de-dollarizing through the BRICS nation and the Belt and Road Initiative. Okay. You've got 70% or 75% of the world's GDP and 80 or 85% of the world's population is leaving the US dollar. There's not an Iran, there's not an Iraq, there's not a China, there's not a Putin, there's not a Brazil that is going to let a Noah Harari and a Klaus Schwab put their boot on their neck and tell them how they're going to run their countries and live their lives and eradicate their cultures. No, thank you. The central banking system that is the problem doesn't have a central bank digital currency to force everyone into adopting. Now, what they do have, Mel, is the ability to lie through their rear end, to create a psyop, to make everyone believe this is a fait accompli. It's all done. Just give us a couple more weeks. We're going to get this all fixed out. You know, take a knee. We'll call you when it's ready. The central bank digital currencies are rolling out, everybody. That is the biggest crock of crap on the planet Earth. These people are not software engineers. They don't give a damn about user experience. The infrastructure isn't built. You know how we know the infrastructure isn't built? They put a pole in the Ripple wheel to slow Ripple because they didn't want Ripple being the lead horse out of the barn while they still don't have their act together. And you don't have digital ledger technology living in the same world with a centralized bank digital currency backed by nothing, with top-down, centralized, non-transparent, and non-collateralized fiat crap. That is the exact opposite of distributed, decentralized, collateralized, and transparent. Okay? They are selling a lie to the world. And every time somebody says CBDC, there's so much in there you have to unpack. It's not even funny. But most importantly, Mr. T reversed them 12 to 20 years backwards in their development timeline. Would they love to have a CBDC that digitally enslaves us? Of course they would. Will the media report anything they're ordered to report? Of course they will. Are the nations that are de-dollarizing, the 70 nations that are going to Russia this week to adopt the gold-backed digital currencies, are they going to accept CBDC fiat? The hell they are. They're not going to accept it. Here's where we stand, Mel. The two biggest regions in the world, North America and Western Europe, the Rothschild colonial European, United Kingdom, England area, and the hollowed out United States of America that manufacture nothing. They can't even make masks or anything. They're dependent on their blue jeans and their washing machines and their computer chips and their rare earth minerals. And we're a consumer society in Western Europe and North America. That means we have to buy everything that we need from people outside those two areas. When you're the consumer and you need to buy stuff, guess who gets to determine what form of payment will be acceptable to the sellers of the things we need? You ever been in a restaurant and they go, we don't take American Express here? The rest of the world's going to go, you can take that fiat dollar bill and wipe your ass with it.